And welcome back to another episode of JP and the Beanstalk. Guess what? Jerkwad is back from Florida.
Not even sunburned, suckers.
That is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago when I went to Florida, I did get more than a tidbit baked on the skin peats, and so invested during that journey in a couple of long sleeve summer shirts. So worth it. So worth it. So took them with me on this trip. I mean, they got a full hood and everything. Do I look like a loser? Maybe, but not sunburned, which at the ripe age of the mid-30s, I'm strangely okay with. So the sacrifice is worth it. I'm in. And I'm back in Iowa, back in the chair. I mean, I feel smaller than ever knowing that Saul has sat in this chair.
He sat in the lawn chair.
What a huge person. What a great guy.
Yes, this is true. Guy. This is true.
Yeah. Still happily married, which is great. Keep it up.
He's going strong.
That's not a surprise.
1 month in.
Not to imply
1 month
anything.
in or less than a month? Isn't it a month? Sorry,
in that range. Let's just round up. Let's say it's been a month.
Say it's been a month.
Yep. Keep rolling, baby. That's great.
Atta boy.
Yep. The wife and I crossed the 10-year threshold, so that was the cause for the Florida excursion.
Guys, 10 years.
A whole decade. So I tell everybody, listen, if this ever crashes and burns, I'm just going to tell you in advance, it's not her fault. Take her side.
No. At least we know up front.
Right. No, it's been solid. It's been a glorious 10 years. Absolutely love it. So it was a treat to celebrate in Florida. It was tough to see the hurricane devastation, and the hurricane was all the way back like last September, October.
Yeah,
so
that's down there.
It is Southwest Florida, the Fort Myers area. Still pretty tough. So certainly feel for the business owners there, and they're a long ways away from getting anywhere back to normal. So
yeah, suck it, Mom and Dad.
That's right, Darren and Riley's mom. I can't remember your mom's name. Amy. All right.
She's
Amy.
not going to listen to this.
Well, okay, fair enough. I feel less worse. But it's great to be back and potting, and we're in the thick of it. We're right in the middle of the summer meat. Not heat, but the meat. I mean, just movie after movie, banger after banger for us to just consume. The smorgasbord is here, and we're feasting.
Left and right.
Wow.
And it's just like getting punched over and over again.
What a great way to get punched.
It's
right?
true.
Just out of love, right?
Yeah, maybe it's like kisses then.
Okay. I can't believe this is actually a sport. I'm going to explain this to you, and unless you were aware of it beforehand, you're not going to believe me when I tell you it's a sport. All right? So scale back here, right? I like to say there's a good energy in the gym as a way to just pay homage to one of my favorite movies of all time, Dodgeball. Hilarious movie. Dumb and hilarious. Okay. ESPN, the Ocho, is the fictional branch of ESPN or alternate channel of ESPN that televises the Dodgeball championships, right? One of the best scenes in a great movie filled with great scenes is the intro to ESPN The Ocho, where it's showing obscure sports, okay? And I remember there's a squirrel riding on a jet ski. There's definitely people on fire. And then there's another one where two dudes have like whips, and they're just whipping each other back and forth, all right? So in that vein, I was shown by a friend of mine earlier this week that there is a actual real live and also televised sport of people just straight up slapping each other.
Oh, yeah.
You knew about this?
Yeah, I told Cole he should do it.
True. He would be successful. I can't believe it. I can't believe I saw it. It's just two guys, or gals, right? Standing on either side of a table, having to stand completely still while the other person, this is my favorite part, okay? So the other person gets to like put their hand really close to the face, line it up. So there's this like build up through the moment. It's not even just a full talk. It's a 1, 2, and then scale back and just smoke the person with an open hand. And there's some big, strong looking individuals that are going full steam ahead with those shots.
It's intense. And then they're all chalked up, too. So when they smoke each other, it just poofs up.
Oh.
Like, just somebody went off on a
just a cloud,
binge.
right? A cloud right against the cheek. And some of these highlights, if you want to call them that, felt more like low lights. People are getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Just knocked unconscious. I seriously thought I had transferred into a alternate multiversal dimension where ESPN The Ocho is now mainstream and very real as opposed to fictional. So it was hilarious and also just, who does that?
Yeah, it's not something I would volunteer for. No. I understand like MMA and like boxing.
You have an opportunity to defend yourself.
Yeah. This is just open season on your face.
Yeah, you're just standing there. It seems dumb.
Although, to be fair, I don't think any of them have very pretty faces.
You know what?
So
that
it's
was
okay if
a consistent theme, and I don't think it was because of the slap. The enduring of slaps. I think it was a prerequisite of sorts. So we're out. We can't go. We can't join.
My face
We've
is
got
way too
faces
pretty.
for podcasting.
This is
We've
true.
got to keep
and
we got to keep those pretty
and visual YouTube-esque faces.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if we've hypothesized a time or two about what it would take, what the price would be for you or for I to join the Marvel or DC, movie making or show making team. And I've always said my price is extraordinarily low. Just to be a part of it would be a delight. Let's say, okay, you were offered a cool $1 million, but you had to take a slap in order to receive the $1 million.
From whom?
Exactly. Which? Okay, I'm going to give you a choice.
I'm not going to say I need to, because if it's my pick, I'm going to pick like
I know
somebody very tiny.
No, you can't do that. Dave Bautista, all right, Drax the Destroyer.
WWE guy, okay.
Yep. WWE. Jason Momoa, pretty beefy fella. Okay. Chris Hemsworth.
Okay.
All right. And can I come up with a fourth? Those are 3 pretty good ones so far. I feel really good about that. But I feel like there's a fourth that I'm going to be upset if I don't think of it. No, that's the 3 I got. Okay. Momoa, Hemsworth, Bautista.
Batista's out.
Correct.
I'm not taking a hit from Batista. That dude is actually jacked.
You'll have $1 million, and it'll be going with you to the grave.
I know he knows how to hit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure, he did fake wrestling for a while, but I know for a fact if it got down to a fight, I'd be dead.
Yeah, the bruises are real that those guys take. Like they take some actual skill to go full speed like that and not just crush each other constantly.
Yeah, so if he can do that at full speed and hold back,
yep.
Yeah, Batista's out. I'm not taking a hit from Batista. So that leaves me with Hemsworth and who's the other one?
Jason Momoa. To drop a little DC flavor in there.
Okay, so is this Hemsworth Thor 4? Thor?
Yes.
Okay, so
beefiest Thor you've seen. Not fat Thor.
And then we have...
Not Ragnarok.
Okay, and then we have Jason Momoa.
It's pretty consistent.
Aquaman, probably.
Yes. I'm thinking Aquaman in particular here.
I'm going to take Momoa because I think Hemsworth was more jacked in his prime than Momoa.
I would go the other direction. I would choose Hemsworth because Momoa is a little crazy.
That's true.
And so I think he would feel that crazy. Hemsworth, I don't think he'd have it in him to actually hit me with all of his might. He seems too jolly at heart to truly just
that's fair
put me under. Whereas Momoa would get an absolute kick out of it.
He's
probably participated in these kind of activities.
Probably.
Yeah.
I could see him being like, okay, it's your turn to hit me now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm regretting my choice.
That's okay.
I'm regretting my choice.
That's okay.
But, I don't, who knows? Maybe I pissed Chris Hemsworth off in another life.
Yikes. Don't do that.
And he's headhunting me. And I don't know that.
Yeah.
And smacks the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have one request in the contract, and that's to not know when I'm going to get hit. Mm-hmm. I don't want to know.
Ooh, interesting. So kind of like the slap bet from How I Met Your Mother.
Yes, I want to be
where Barney has no idea.
Right. I want to be
smoked.
Yeah, I want to be completely off guard. You can do it to me while we're on set and as part of the movie, and just don't write it in my part of the script.
That'd be a good way to do it.
And I just get smacked in the mouth. But he only gets one.
Yep.
So
correct. It is just the one shot. I would do it for that.
Oh, I mean, it's a crisp mill. What am I getting out of this? A concussion?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. You'll be sore for a bit, but then you'll recover. You'll have a great story to tell, and you'll be wealthier.
And I go out there for the scene, and there's like already the foam padding, and I'm like, this is odd. I wonder what's going to happen here. Jason, am I hitting you on the ground? No. Like that.
Be serious. It's my movie.
Listen here, Aqualad.
Gosh. It wouldn't even be worth it to be in the movie if you're Aqualad, right?
Oh, Garth is kind of cool.
I don't know.
Well, maybe
that's a top 5 for another day.
Maybe when he goes by Tempest.
Top 5 characters where you're selling your soul to actually be in the movie. Like you're in it, but are you actually proud of the fact that you're in it? Or are you ashamed?
But I would rather probably be Aqualad than Speedy.
Okay, again, future top 5 topic. I think we've got some burgeoning material there. So that's glorious. All right, well, per usual, we're all over the place. To get us slightly on topic, we've got 2 big topics to discuss today. We've got the recap of Across the Spider-Verse, which we have both separately have had the opportunity to take in and enjoy thoroughly. And then we've got The Flash, final preview and predictions. And if our track record is any indicator, the predictions are going to be wildly inaccurate, but that just makes it all the more fun to give them because then we get to put it on the record and LOL at how seriously wrong we were. So, right. Not the least of which we'll discuss in the Across the Spider-Verse recap. Then, of course, another crisp JP and the Beans 5. So, looking forward to that. It's going to be another absolute banger. Speaking of bangers, let's start with Spider-Verse, Riles. Banger. What'd you think? What are your overall impressions?
It was really good.
Yeah.
I love how the phrase, it's a canon event, is now trending. So when something happens to somebody that's bad, they're like, it's just a canon event. I think that's hilarious that's trending. So props to that movie.
Correct.
For that, let's see here. What was I doing? I got distracted. My initial thoughts?
No, that's great. I think as soon as the credits rolled, totally in agreement with you. Outstanding movie. As soon as the credits rolled, I started thinking about you and I discussing the movie, right? And I thought, there is so much here. I'm going to forget or not be able to recall vast majority of what could be discussed. And that is, in its own way, an indictment on my memory, but also extraordinary high praise to the movie.
Tip of the hat. Right.
Absolutely. There. Because when there is quality art, okay, it inspires, dialogue, dissection, all the D words. There is a lot to unpack, right? And so it's going to take multiple viewings across hopefully the coming years as I watch and of course rewatch it with my kids as they get old enough to consume it. But what an absolute masterpiece in terms of just the craftsmanship that it took to, and regardless, I think, of what avenue you want to explore, whether it's the storytelling, the world building that's being done, the character development that's being done, the sheer visuals are unbelievable. I'm really looking forward to one thing I want to get into, and so I'll touch on it here. We won't get too far into it, but I'm looking forward to 10 to 20 years from now, seeing how animated films have been impacted by this duo, soon to be trilogy of movies. Because this came out of nowhere, the first Spider-Verse movie, in terms of the animation style. And Across the Spider-Verse, following up with Into the Spider-Verse, has expanded on that style to the point where, when it's this good, it's going to be, it inspires imitation, right? I mean, I can only imagine the number of young graphic artists that are being blown away and inspired and can actually do something with the inspiration from this movie. It's just that good.
Well, it's the only thing I've seen where it feels like the comic book is actually on screen.
Yes.
So if they decide to do like comic book movies based on actual storylines from the comics like this in that format, I mean, possibilities are endless. Obviously, you don't have to switch up the 15 different art styles that they have in this movie. I mean, they did that because of the story, but...
Yeah. So just outstanding. Selfishly, I wish we had part 3 right now because I'm impatient. So it felt very similar to when Infinity War ended.
Right.
Where it's like, dang it. Can we get the next part now?
Right.
But again, I mean that more as a compliment than anything else. So left me hungry for more. So let's get into some details. What are some specifics from this movie that you really enjoyed from your takeaways?
Well, the new Spider-Man that they introduced into this movie were fantastic. I think Spider-Punk came in and like set his spot. Where do I want to go with this? No, I didn't mean to do that. But he kind of mic dropped, which is kind of his character.
Sure.
And it's his character style. He's kind of this rebel. But he came in and like his relationship with Miguel is hilarious. Because Miguel's like, I don't want anything to do with you. And he's like, that's fine. That's not what I expected. You know? But he was fantastic. You had the Miguel. Oh my gosh, Oscar Isaac nailed that role. And to actually, his backstory in this movie where he's like, I tried and it tore the universe apart. So we obviously can't do this. Who else was introducing this? Obviously my favorite, which was Ben Reilly, which I wish we had more Ben Reilly.
Wow.
Andy Samberg. Andy, if you want to do a movie with me and I get to be your son, can I be your son in a movie? Straight up, like, this is my pitch. We'll come up with the whole rest of the story later. I don't care if I have 5 minutes. Just let me be your kid in a movie. Okay? But besides the point, that pitch aside, right? He like stole the show with the 7 minutes of time that he had on screen.
I told you before we started rolling. Outside of Hugh Jackman cast as Wolverine, there has not been a more perfect match in terms of casting of character to actor.
Just it's perfect. Oh my gosh, just the like over seriousness of the character to the point of parody. It was so funny. And I was telling you earlier, I want him and Spider-Ham to interact with each other so bad. And thank God we're getting Spider-Man Ham. That's funny. Spider-Ham and Spider-Man Noir back in the third one. So that'll be fun. But, man, what else? Jessica Drew was really good too. That surprised me a little bit how much I liked her.
Right.
Just because because it's such a different take on Jessica Drew. Especially the motorcycle and the webs out of the fingies. Honestly, the webs out of the fingies was what threw me off the most. Because I'm like, whoa, not just one, all 5. And I couldn't tell if that was her web shooter or if it was like, that's where they come out of. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that threw me off a little bit. But I liked her and like how Peter B. Parker was Miles' mentor. Like she was Gwen's mentor, essentially. So it was kind of cool to see those guys' dynamics as well. And
to have some compare and contrast opportunities between the Jessica and Gwen mentor-mentee relationship.
And they really fleshed Gwen out in this movie too. I felt like she was almost more of a main character than Miles for
there was an equal share there. There's no question. That was a real surprise in a positive way to me. It would have been expected and very easy for this movie to have continued to make Miles the primary main character. And if he was, it was by a margin of like 52% to 48%.
Right.
So it was a unexpected timeshare, so to speak, that was extraordinarily well both executed and worthwhile. It didn't feel at all like we're missing out on time with Miles. I thought both characters, whenever they were on screen, were absolutely solid. So it was time well spent, regardless of who was receiving the focus at that point.
Agreed. Yeah. And then we had Spider-Man India, which was a delight. And can we acknowledge probably one of the best lines in the movie? And he's like, "Oh, what another successful job for Spider-Man!" And they all looked at him like, "No!" And immediately it blew up. So
it's a great pull on your part. That was a fantastic line. Fantastic line. And another great, again, casting to execution in terms of the voice acting. Like, just outstanding.
I love my boy Dopinder.
Oh, incredible. Yeah, all the characters. This is not a movie that I could come up with, because I am such a boring, I tend to be a boring traditionalist when it comes to comic book characters. And so it's like, oh, Spider-Man, give me my Peter Parker, right? Captain America is Steve Rogers. And I suppose sometimes that's true, but I'm so glad to be wrong in this instance, where Peter Parker is out there, right? We get Peter B. Parker in a smaller portion in this film than we did in the original Into the Spider-Verse movie. But this is about Miles Morales, and now the Spider-Gwen Stacy, and so many other versions of the Spider-Man character, and the creativity, like with the Spider-Man India. It's like, this is ludicrous and hilarious, and I want more of it.
Right.
It's great. So I'm just delighted by the sheer inventiveness that comes with, okay, what could we do with this idea? Right? It's incredible. It's great.
I think it's like the ultimate like homage to Stan Lee, because when Stan Lee created the character, the whole point of it was like he wanted people to be able to. He's like, Spider-Man wears a mask because he wanted anyone to think that they could be Spider-Man.
Yep.
And this is like the ultimate love letter to that ideal.
Sure.
Because
that's great.
He's literally showing that everybody can be Spider-Man, that's including great. Cats and T-Rexes.
Well, and I appreciate so much too we have seen our share of movies and stories that are, and characters that are microwaved, right? Not slow cooked. They're half baked. They're partially there, but by no means fully developed. And when you get the distinctive differences between even the design of each of these spider characters, like, that takes some real intentional time, energy, and effort, to where not only do they look different, but their spider attributes function differently, right? The way in which they use their respective webs are different. There are obviously some crossover and some similarities, but there's so many unique differences from Spider-Man India to Miguel O'Hara to Miles Morales to Gwen Stacy to Jessica Drew. Like, it's incredible. It's really, really a sign of whoever is putting this big masterpiece together. Boy, are they being very intentional. There's not any, I can't pick out a single aspect of it where you go, that was really shallow. That was thin. We didn't think that one through, did we, guys?
None of it's cheesy.
No.
And Spider-Man has that room to be a little cheesy. And it was not cheesy.
Yeah. What do you think? So the characters are obviously outstanding. For you, there's a ton of characters to absorb. Was there a character or a character or two that were particular highlights for you?
That's a great question.
I mean, Ben Reilly for us was the most hilarious.
Right.
Right.
Man, they did a really good job at continuing to flesh Miles out. Miles is becoming more and more confident. So to see his character growth with just one movie, he's a year in as Spider-Man, and then he's like being told, hey, this is going to happen whether you like it or not. Mm-hmm. And you weren't even supposed to be Spider-Man in the first place. Mm-hmm. And to come to that point where he's like, well, I might not have supposed to be Spider-Man, but I just got the best of all of you. And I still kind of am. So, and to see him be like, I feel like he is the most Spider-Man in that moment too, when that canon, he gets told, like, your dad's going to die.
Yep.
That's a canon event. You don't have any control over that.
Right.
And then to be like, I'm going to save him, whether you like it or not. I think that's the most Spider-Man move there is.
Sure.
Because it just goes in depth of, Spider-Man is all about making the right choice.
Yep.
And seeing, I mean, even when he doesn't think it's the right choice. So, I mean, I don't know. Miles was really good. I thought Gwen was fleshed out really well with her dad. The relationship between her and her father was done phenomenally.
Beautiful.
Right.
Goosebumps right now, like just thinking back to those scenes.
Yeah. That was really great storytelling.
Oh my.
But,
yeah.
And, I think Miguel was really fleshed out well too here. I think those were the three main Spider-Men in this movie.
Sure.
Like,
yep.
I think
definitely had the most time spent on those three.
Right. Peter B. Parker took a back seat in this one, really.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, just seeing Miguel, like, you're like, oh, it's actually within reason why you're doing what you're doing. It's not crazy. You've made the hard choice in you have to save the universe.
Yeah.
And right now, Miles is making what he thinks is the right choice in saving his dad.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, they're both reasonable. It's like Captain America Civil War, where both sides were right in their own sense. Not like Civil War in the comics, where Iron Man was completely wrong. But
correct. Yeah, when the motives and what drives each character is so well fleshed out to where you as the audience member can understand the perspective, regardless of which character you tend to side with, that is really solid storytelling. It's not just this binary, well, this person is good and this person is bad, when there is some actual genuine motivation that's been developed and it's shown, right? It's not just told. This is a storytelling principle that you have to show. You can't simply tell when it comes to developing the depth of a character, right? You can't just say, hey, so Miguel tends to be angry a lot. You have to show why. Why is he angry? What is the angst, the tension that's driving him? It's his history.
He's depressed.
He's right.
Straight up depressed.
He's down. And when it shows why he is feeling this way, it makes him such more empathetic character. Like, you can actually relate to that. Doesn't mean you're going, hey, I want Miguel to gain the upper hand here and defeat Miles, but it does allow you to relate to his character. And so the conflict that comes about between Miguel and between Miles becomes that much more significant because you have two fully fleshed out characters. And that's great storytelling. So no question. I think for me, the character that I enjoyed, and this is definitely a product of where my expectations were compared to what was delivered, was the Spot. I didn't think the Spot was going to be worth a warm, hairy turd. And holy buckets, was I wrong. Like, that was and will continue to be, a great adversary that not only is a phenomenal opponent for Miles Morales, but he's a threat to all of the Spider-Verse. And it's not a joke. It's not. And it genuinely started out that way, where the Spot is completely awkward and unable to, really control whatever skills he could have. It seems like everything he's doing right is purely by accident. Like, whenever he's quote unquote winning, it's just oops, that worked. Wow, didn't expect that. To see the Spot gain more and more aptitude and even purpose throughout the movie, and then ability and just become this existential threat, totally did not see that coming. So tip the cap to you, Sir Spot. That was impressive. Really impressive.
It makes me want to go watch the first one just to watch him get hit in the face with a bagel. Because that's what I think this movie,
you're right,
and the last movie's done so well, is the writing in it. Because
you're right.
In the first one, you have the nod that the spider is not from their universe.
Correct.
because it's glitching when it first is introduced.
Right.
They showed this really cool. Everybody keeps talking about this, but when you see, after he gets bit by the spider and he interacts with Spider-Man, you see that behind him the colors are purple and green for Prowler.
Yep.
And then it gets turned to blue and red as soon as he meets Peter. So indicating that his fate has changed.
Interesting.
And so the theory right now is that the universe that the spider was from, that Miles was actually supposed to be Spider-Man, not the Miles that is Spider-Man now. But
that theory holds water.
Right, because Chris Pine's Spider-Man was supposed to be alive.
Yep.
Oh,
that's great.
Yeah. So but even on top of that, having him be a character that was still present in what happened in the first one, but we don't care because he just gets smoked in the face with a bagel in the first one. But to watch that turn into, I created you, you created me, and now here we are. I think it'll be more fun to go watch the first one again and kind of watch to see if you can see where he gets hit with a collider or obviously hit with a bagel is hilarious, but
Yeah, no question. Really, really impressive. This is probably as good a time as any, since we're on the topic of characters. Okay, I came across an article that was interviewing the Spider-Verse drivers or creators, Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Okay, and they had some phenomenal takes. And as it pertained to the wider, if we pull this scope back here a little bit, the wider superhero movie universe, and what I don't think is unique to us, whether you want to call it superhero fatigue or just call it a big fat neutral response to a lot of movies in the last couple of years to perhaps negative. Phil Lord and Chris Miller would say, hey, it has to do with the quality of those movies. Right? It's not there's too many. That's not a quantity issue. It's what caliber of content is being put out there. Okay. So I'm just going to read this quote real quick because I thought this was outstanding. So this is first Mr. Miller. Okay. Chris Miller, and then we'll get to Phil Lord. So here's Chris. I don't believe it's superhero fatigue. I believe it's a quote, movie that feels like a movie I've seen a dozen times before. Fatigue. If you're using the same story structure and the same style and the same tone and the same vibe as movies and shows that have come before, it doesn't matter what genre it is, it's going to be boring to people. And then Phil Lord follows that up with, the audience in the theater cannot be sustained on Easter eggs and reveals, or even big, crazy multiverse stakes. They only care about the relationship, between Rocket Raccoon and Groot. I thought that was astute, and it makes perfect sense hearing that these guys just put together a movie that had the Easter eggs. It does have, multiversal sized stakes, but that's not why we're sitting here going, hey, this was fantastic. One of the best movies we've seen in some time. We're talking, and rightfully so, about the characters. Because the character development and the story line are so well crafted and so well constructed. That's where it's at. That's absolutely where it's at. And so kudos to those guys for not having the initial success with Into the Spider-Verse and losing sight of what made Into the Spider-Verse great, and now is what made Across the Spider-Verse great. That's incredible. Really outstanding stuff. Yeah. What were some other highlights for you from the movie? Good character talk. What other things stood out to you?
I think that's about it. I think when we look back, it doesn't feel like the first movie definitely can feel like a standalone, and this one definitely feels like a part one and a part two.
Yep.
But when this is all said and done, looking back, this is going to be they go so well together, and it feels like a cohesive storyline entirely. So, and for some trilogies, there's usually one part that struggles.
Sure.
But for this, it just feels like it's smooth. It's a very smooth transition, at least from the first to the second one, and I'm assuming 2 to 3 is going to be just the same. So I'm going to be more curious to see where they jump off of after this, because they said the multiverse is done. Like, they're done with this trilogy after this. So I don't know if... they got a lot that they can do now. Mm-hmm. They opened the door for Sony to be like, you know what, we can pick our own Spider-Man, and we can just do a solo movie on that and actually get a good response from it, because we've already like introduced it. So I don't know.
I think a couple just, I'm gonna call it stylistic things that I really appreciated. The artistry that comes with crafting the visuals in this movie, just incredible, just unprecedented, right? And part of what I thought this film fleshed out really well that we didn't get to see much of in the first movie, which makes sense, right? It was set in one particular branch of the Spider-Verse. But when we're jumping from branch to branch of the Spider-Verse to see the different, literally the different comic styles with each universe was so cool. Like, Gwen Stacy's universe was almost weirdly 2-dimensional as opposed to 3-dimensional. It was just flat. A lot of the color wasn't very vibrant. It was more toned down. To see each different universe have its own different artistic take was really well done.
Like the
really
1800s cool. Vulture coming in.
Oh my gosh.
Shooting Leonardo da Vinci missiles.
Again, bizarre. But that was really, really well done. And another thing that I think, especially thinking back on the first Spider-Verse movie and giving it its due as well, these two movies have done a great job with their soundtracks as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Like, that's something that I enjoy a lot about great superhero movies, and when they do it. Not all superhero movies do, but when they capture a solid soundtrack, whether it's the Guardians movies, Dark Knight trilogy in its own way, right? Those are two very different examples of accomplishing the same purpose with different styles, but the principle is still the same. When you're able to enhance the story that's being told, when you are pairing the visuals and the story with the right soundtrack. And that, I thought, was done exceptionally well again in this movie. So I was really delighted by that. So that was great. I'm looking forward to seeing our guys, Spider-Ham, Spider-Man Noir. That's wild.
The Penny Parker,
the
robot upgrade.
Yep.
And by the way, I will say this, that's a more comic accurate upgrade.
Oh, okay.
And I'm all for it.
Okay.
It looks badass. So, because that first
level
one,
up.
Right, because in the first movie, it was kind of like, I don't know. It was more cute than it was badass.
Like, what are we doing here?
I'm like, let it be the actual big robot. So I'm all for it. It looks sweet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm pumped.
Yeah. No, that's great. I truly don't have any negatives. The one, here you go. Here's the one not negative question that I have. All right. So our boy Hobie, Spider-Punk. I thought, all right, when he said, all right, I'm out. This is probably about 2/3 of the way through the movie, right? And he opens up a portal to what we assume is his universe, steps into it, tosses his multiversal dimensional watch on the ground. Okay. Did you see the same thing? You track with me so far?
I think so.
Okay. How then does Hobie hook George Stacy up with the multiversal watch to give to Gwen Stacy? Did he just have two?
He was stealing a bunch of stuff at one point in time. So my guess is he was stealing, because I was wondering, like, why is he just taking a bunch of crap? So he was taking, I'm assuming he was taking...
It would be totally on brand with his anarchist nature if he's going, okay, everybody's supposed to have one. I'm going to have several.
Right. So I think he made his own.
Yep.
And then distributed it.
Yep.
Throughout to whom he wanted to give it to, knowing full well that my guess is he didn't agree with Miguel from the get-go.
Right. So he's like, why does this guy have all the control?
Right.
Okay.
And then he probably...
But I didn't miss that, right? Like that wasn't something that was actually shown or revealed.
No, you didn't miss it. I think it was...
We'll probably see some resolution there.
Of him making it would be my guess. But yeah, so my guess as soon as he saw Miles finally come in, he probably knew it was a matter of time for Miles to come in because it sounded like everybody knew he was the odd man out.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess is he was waiting for that time and then he's like, all right, now we go.
Nice. Cool. Okay. That was the one question that I had as I was reflecting on the movie that I went, hey, wait a minute. That wasn't explained. Doesn't mean it doesn't make sense, but it wasn't explained in the moment.
And he's a Spider-Man, so all of them are good with science, I think, right?
And it's supposed to be a prereq of the character, right? Technologically savvy, scientifically advanced. Well, all right. Good. Anything else you want to hit on with
No, I think
Across the Spider-Verse? All right. Well, outstanding flick. All right. On to what is sure to be another equally outstanding flick, Flash.
Yeah. Go team.
All right. Less of a sure thing. As I've mentioned on previous pods, I have opened my heart. I'm ready to get hurt.
Mine is closed.
Yours is
and impenetrable.
Much more wisely closed off. I'm not gonna.
This will be me in the theaters.
Channeling your 70-year-old man energy.
Yep. I'm gonna be a grumpy old man.
Yep.
I'm gonna take notes from my grandpa.
Hey, at least you know it.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know, he's good at it. So
I think it's outstanding. So happy for you. So proud of you. I'm looking forward to this movie. And here's why. It's either going to surprisingly meet my hopeful expectations or it's just going to be terrible. It's going to crash and burn. And the one like shred of light to be drawn from it will be Michael Keaton.
That will be the only good. That's the only good thing in this movie. I'm telling you right now, unless there is a surprise.
You're taking a reasonable stance.
Unless there is a surprise cameo.
It's reasonable.
Okay? You want to know who's going to save this movie? Martian Manhunter. Is that going to happen? It's not. Okay?
No,
it's not going to happen.
I wouldn't put my hopes on that.
Nope. It won't happen. So, I'm out. This is.
Okay, well, you're still going. You're still going. You're sitting there with your arms crossed. Grumpy look on your face.
But yes, I'm out.
Nicolas Cage shows up as Superman.
That would be worse. Look, I love Nick Cage, but like, if there's no context and Nick Cage shows up as Superman, I'm
instantly makes it better.
I'm clocking out.
Instantly makes it better.
No way.
The sheer hilarity of it.
Can you imagine if that's Michael Keaton's Superman is Nicolas Cage?
Yes. I can imagine, and it's nothing good, but it's hilarious. It would be incredible.
I'd be so frustrated.
It'd be incredible. Here's what I will say that for those like me that want to choose to be optimistic, okay, then I'm going to give
all three of you.
There are dozens of us, dozens. I'm gonna choose to latch on to the marketing for this movie. All of the trailers have not strayed outside of the boundaries of a very certain set of scenes. Okay. As I roll through my historical Rolodex of trailers, I can think of movies that have shown too much, and typically that's not a positive thing. Again, this does not mean the movie is going to be good, but good movies don't show the end battle scene over and over. So here's what's going to be a real strong indicator. Okay, if we're sitting in the movie theater and the scene where we're seeing Batman, the two Flashes that we know of so far, and Supergirl battling Zod, and we're going, oh, farts, we're an hour and a half into this. This is the end scene or the end, climactic battle. We're probably going to be disappointed at this point in the movie. Okay. So I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. I like the twist of the Flashpoint that we think we're getting, like the little sprinklage, if you will, of Flashpoint, where Barry's going back in time to save his parents, and we get a different, version of Superman that's been cooped up in captivity. That's great. I'm here for that. I'm really curious, Riles, to see what, if any, because I think there will be some. I don't know how many. I don't know who. What additional characters that we have no clue are going to be in this one, hero or villain.
Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern. I actually wouldn't be against that. I would be more for that than Nicolas Cage returning as Superman. Let's just say that.
Can we just get both? Can we just? Let's just get both. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So let's do some predictions. All right. Wild predictions that are almost certain not to be true. But that's why we do them, because it's more entertaining that way. Who's going to live? Who's going to die? Let's start with the Batman. Okay. So we get Ben Affleck's Batman, and we get Michael Keaton's Batman. Out of those two, do you think live, die, doesn't exist anymore? What do you got?
I can see Michael Keaton taking a bullet at the end.
Yep.
This is his last thing, because he's like, well, this isn't the right timeline, so have fun. I can see that. I can see Ben Affleck just being done being Batman. I don't think he'll die, but I could... Honestly, if they're smart, they would have had another Batman planted, ready to go. Okay. The new Bruce Wayne. The guy's going to take over. Okay. That would be the new Batman moving forward. Okay. But then again, ideally, all three Barry Allens would also die, and we would get a new Flash.
Just for the sake of not having Ezra Miller.
Yeah. That's just me.
The look on your face right now is so so sincere.
It would be amazing if when he goes back through Flashes, and then it's just a new Barry Allen chilling, talking to a new Batman. It's just like, and they act like it never happened.
Right. Yeah, I don't see either Batman. I don't see either of them dying.
I don't either.
In this movie. I really don't.
I'm 50-50 on Keaton. I can see Keaton taking a bullet, but I can also them being like, no, if we're bringing Keaton back, he needs to go out in a blaze of glory and not die.
Yeah, it would feel... Here's where I'm at. I'm at 80% he lives, 20% if he dies, I'll go, okay, well, sure, I guess. But I see him die.
I don't either.
I want to see him make that sacrifice. Is he Bruce Wayne?
Yes.
Yeah, he probably is. I really want to hold to my conspiracy theory that he's Thomas Wayne, but he's not. He's Bruce Wayne.
Here's what you would have to sell him like Keaton on.
Yep.
Hey, you're not Bruce, you're Thomas. And he would be like, why?
I don't want to do this.
They'd be trying to sell him on it the whole time. He's like, can I just be Bruce? And they'll be like, yeah.
Yeah, you can just be Bruce. It'll just be Bruce.
This is going to be easy.
I know. I really want to hold firm to my original stance. He's going to be Bruce. Yep. Okay. We'll get to Barry Allen. We'll get to Flash last. Barry Allen's parents. Oh, whoops. Wait.
Dead.
Yeah.
So they'll come back for 5 minutes and then they will die again.
Right.
And it'll be like, oh, this emotional scene. Well, technically, his dad doesn't die. His dad just goes to prison.
Correct. Dad gets thrown in prison, accused of his mother's murder.
Right.
Awkward.
Because Reverse Flash, but Reverse Flash is the thing. They're going to with the dark Barry Allen, which...
We'll see. I think there's a chance you'll get surprised there, Fred. Yeah, there's a chance.
I have no hope.
No, you're closed off.
Yep.
Supergirl. Live or die.
Yeah.
You got to pick a side.
Here's the thing. First of all, I just don't care.
I know, but you got to pick a side.
Here's where it's at. Is this going to be Supergirl moving forward with James Gunn?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Why? Because she does not look like Kara in the comics. Yeah. She doesn't. Sorry.
Yeah.
No. That's why I'm like, nah. She looks more like the Lois Lane Superwoman or whatever. There's another Superwoman or something that she looks like, but not Kara Zor-El. Or not.
Right.
Is it Zor-El?
Yeah. I think she ends up dying too.
But see, I don't even know if she dies. I can just see that being like, she's in that universe. They flash forward. and then it's over. You know what I mean?
That's fair. That's fair. For some reason, I feel like she's going to end up making some kind of a sacrifice. I'm just gonna predict that she's toast.
I think she'll be fine.
Okay,
because she's Superwoman.
Could work out that way. Okay, if you had to pick, if you had to open up your heart just the tiniest little skosh, not a full open, just crack the door, take a peek out.
That's locked up pretty tight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So go from Grinch-sized heart to, there's life there. There's a chance. Who do you think you could see in this movie? All right, kind of getting away from the living and dying predictions. Who do you think you could see that would be unexpected? Who do you have just the tiniest bit of hope to see?
Okay, so for me, I think it needs to be somebody significant enough to the fan bases where they would be like, oh, wow, he's in this.
Sure.
So I'm thinking it's either going to be an established character,
okay,
like Wonder Woman or Aquaman.
Okay. Yep.
They already confirmed Cavill's out. Gal Gadot seems like she's a mystery. So to me, Wonder Woman makes the most sense.
Sure.
Okay. Or somebody that's important to the Flash and the Flash's lore. So a Green Lantern.
Yep.
Like a Hal Jordan.
Sure.
Would be phenomenal.
Yep.
Will it happen? Probably not.
That's okay.
But
That's
Green Lantern.
Love your creativity so far.
Or
great energy.
Because of the CW.
Grant Gustin.
No, I was going to say Green Arrow.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Only because of the CW, because I don't think they're that close. Well, they might be all right in the comics. I don't know, but I feel like Hal and Barry are a lot closer.
Yep.
So I think, to me, it's more attractive if you go Green Lantern.
Got it.
I think that's the most attractive for me.
Got it.
But I think the one that makes the most sense is Gal Gadot.
Yep.
Especially if you're already counting Henry Cavill out, which you did.
Yep.
I think the one that makes the most sense is a more ferocious Gal Gadot.
Okay.
But
I like that. I could see Aquaman showing up.
I can too.
In this one as well. I would like there to be a adversary other than Zod to show up. I
agree. I think you need it.
Yeah.
Somebody that's significant to Barry.
Yeah, because it's not enough that Barry puts the universe at risk by trying to go back in time and save his parents. Like, that's okay. Because you want to get to the, come back to the fatigue question, right? We have seen these kind of stakes before, right? Where, my gosh, the universe is at stake. Hey, all right. There's got to be more there. There's got to be something genuine that he is going to be fighting against, someone that he has to be battling against. And Zod has been battled before by Superman. He's a Superman villain. So we need some adversary of the Flash's in this movie, I think. And that's where I'm most, if I'm being really honest with myself, where I'm most nervous. I'm not sure we're going to get that. I'm hopeful. I'm going to be optimistic about it. But I'd love to be surprised with a reverse Flash showing up who's been manipulating things behind the scenes. I would love that.
It'll be an evil Barry Allen, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, kind of feels that way. It does. Do we have a runtime for this one?
I don't know. Do we? 2 hours? 2.5 hours?
2:24.
Oh, dear God.
It gives me more hope. Remember how devastated I was when we found out Ragnarok was less than Love and Thunder was less than 2 hours?
Yeah, but that one had a lot more potential.
That's what he was devastating about. That was what was devastating about that news, though.
Yeah, but what if it sucks and then we're an hour in and I'm like, oh.
You can do what every other old man does and you can leave.
I can't for podcast reasons. You know I'm stuck in there.
That's true. You can't get away. Who knows? We'll see. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. Anything else you want to hit on with The Flash?
Not really.
Yep.
How
great would it be if 2 weeks from now we're sitting here and your mind has been completely changed. We've seen it and you've gone, Gordon, I never saw that coming. How great would that be? That's the beauty of low expectations.
If I like the movie.
Exactly. What a coup that will be. I'm looking forward to it. Now I'm really hyped.
To watch me eat my own foot.
Here's the thing. Are you going to watch Man of Steel? No, I don't want you to eat your own foot. I just want you just to have this life experience where you're cold and closed off. You said, no, I'm the Grinch. Christmas sucks. And bam, you get hit by some jolly old Christmas spirit. The freaking Who's in Whoville come out, start singing their song. Your heart expands.
I have a feeling this is the alternate story where the Grinch just kills them all with an avalanche. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Well,
to be honest, that's what he should have done in the first place. You know how annoying that singing gets after 3? They do that every day.
You are not allowed. You are not allowed to Whoville ever. You're not invited.
They go around the Christmas tree every day. Yeah, you should have just done an avalanche.
Yep. Okay. Well, now we have a little view into your heart. It doesn't exist. It's gone.
Anyways, but no.
2 weeks from now, that would be a delight. That's all I'm saying.
What were you saying about Man of Steel, though?
Oh, yeah. Are you going to watch Man of Steel?
I'm all for it. You said you wanted to watch it together.
You're right.
So I've been holding off.
You're right. Okay. Great. Andre, we're going to figure this out. All right.
So I haven't touched it because you told me not to.
Yep. That's the reason you haven't watched it in, what has it been now, 13 years since it came out?
I knew that one day JP and I would make a podcast. And I knew that I would want to rather watch that movie specifically with him.
That is...
How old was I when that movie came out?
It was 2013, so 10 years ago.
Oh my gosh, I was 15 years old.
Yeah, all right.
What a wee lad.
There's...
Just getting ready for sophomore year of high school. Oh man, that really puts things into perspective.
That's some flash little foresight by you.
Oh, that poor kid.
Good for you.
He needed a hug.
Well, watch Man of Steel and you will be embraced, sir. Let me tell you. All right, let's move on. It is time for another classic JP and the Beans Top 5. And it is appropriately Flash themed. All right, so Beans, we decided, hey, let's rank our top 5 Flash villains. Because as we just mentioned, boy, would it be nice to see a Flash villain in the Flash movie. So curious if we see any of these potential villains, any of these rogues.
We won't
in the film.
Maybe in the first 5 minutes we'll see like
what will Whoville reveal to us?
The Weatherman or something. The weather
wizard.
Yeah,
weather wizard.
There you go.
Get it right.
The weather wizard.
I almost had him on my top 5 just for the sheer lunacy of the name. Like just incredible.
I already hate the weather, and you just decide to be the wizard of it.
He can't have any friends.
No way.
No.
Why?
No. So the Flash, just for a little context here, the Flash has a very, I'm going to say, colorful, is probably the cliche word, a diverse group of villains that are by no means your A-list DC foes. Okay? These are...
-1. I'd say one's A-list for sure.
Yep. The majority are living in the B and below ranks.
BC.
BC for DC. I thought it was funny. It really wasn't. But regardless, I tried.
Okay, I'll remember forever.
There you go. Thank you. Clip that one on YouTube.
Done.
Just for the sheer, I think, entertainment value, this was worthwhile. I mean, we're not going to list any, villains here that are, wow, these guys are really great. But there's some entertainment value here, so we're going to get into it. All right. You go first. Who is your 5th ranked Flash villain?
I got to go with Captain Boomerang, the Aussie.
Same.
Really? You're number 5?
Also number 5.
Yeah.
Boomerang.
It just mainly because he just seems like he's got a very punchable face. There have been like 4 of them, There have been like 3 or 4 different Captain Boomerangs.
Yeah.
And why do you have to be the captain of the Boomerangs? Right? Why can't you just be Boomerang? That makes more sense to me. But whatever, man. I like the Australian accent.
That's a really good question. That is a really good question.
Right?
Why are you the captain?
Right.
Boomerangs don't have captains.
Wait, we'll get further down that whole rabbit hole in a little bit. But I mean, like the you got different boomerangs. That's kind of cool, right? The Australian accent is amazing, no matter what. He had the weird unicorn thing in Suicide Squad that I don't really want to get into, but
gosh,
he's number 5. Number 5. You got any reasoning you want to add to that?
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so you is the bad guy, all right? Your opponent is the fastest man alive. And your tact is to chuck a very difficult to control and manage object that is thrown by hand.
And that if you miss, it comes back to you. Because that's the whole point of the boomerang. Is it's supposed to.
I'm starting to understand why there's so many of them, because they probably just get smoked over and over. And the next guy who's dumb enough to think, wait, no, I got this. The other guy he missed this part of it wrong.
Right. I just won't miss.
No.
I'll never miss.
I'll hit him and just boom, boom, boom. Now you're right. The Australian accent is the one saving grace, but bunch of idiots.
How many times did the Flash grab the boomerang from him and be like, dude, you're gonna die? And then one time he's just like, you know what? You need to learn. Yep.
Just gonna let it happen.
Another one will come.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible. I truly can't believe, seriously, cannot believe that it's real. Cannot believe it. So no, that's all I got for Captain Boomerang.
I do think Marvel has a villain called Boomerang, so that might be why they didn't do just Boomerang. And they added the captain, but
all right. Well, my number 4 is Mirror Master.
Okay.
Also, a little bit. Here's a really. I just picked up on this. This is kind of sad, but I just picked up on this. Sam Scudder. Irish or Scottish? I can't remember now. I think Scottish. Scottish. Oh, I'm just trying to do my research.
He's got a really ugly costume.
His
green
costume
and orange.
His costume is pure piss.
That doesn't have anything to do with mirrors.
No, it's terrible.
Why is it green and orange? I could never figure that out.
It's absolutely awful. But here's the thing: he actually has a skill set that's worthwhile when he can transport using a reflective surface. That's pretty great, right? So it doesn't just have to be a mirror; it can be a window pane, it can be a puddle. That is some sick teleportation ability. That's useful, especially when your opponent again is the fastest man alive. You got the Scottish accent, so I'm all for it. Sam Scudder. Mirror Master, my number 4.
My number 4. I've got Godspeed. Because when he was first introduced in the comics, that dude was a badass. Because a bunch of people got new Speed Force powers, and he killed them all to take their speed. And then they also learned that he's so fast, he can be in 2 places at once.
That seems kind of ruthless.
Yeah. So Godspeed number 2. I think he's become more of an anti-hero now because he's just so badass. And the suit, the white and the gold, that is a good suit. The Godspeed suit is sick.
What a great name! That's an imposing name. You've got Captain Boomerang, okay, Mirror Master, not winning any rewards, and then Godspeed. Okay,
Godspeed.
That's pretty tight. Pretty great.
Yeah, because he's faster than Flash, you know?
Yep. Got it. Great choice. Good choice. All right, you're number 3.
Back to number 3.
Yeah, we're boomeranging. Ha-ha! Back to you.
I have Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah, same. Also number 3.
Wow, we're doing really good.
Oh.
Yeah, so I have the
Pals being buds.
Right. There's something about a gigantic gorilla that has telepathy powers.
Wow.
Just smacking the Flash around that it makes me enjoy life. I don't know.
Who on earth even came up with that idea?
Yeah, there's a whole gorilla city.
Right.
And he's the guy out of all the gorillas.
Oh.
And he just wants to mind control people. Right? He's intimidating. He's dope.
He is. It's how did they get paired up? Right? Like the Flash and Gorilla Grodd?
It's an odd pairing for sure. Because he's not fast, he's not slow, he's just in mind control, I guess. But why did they make it a gorilla? I didn't know.
Gorilla. That's one of those comics ideas where it's like, this never should have happened. But it did. But it did.
How it worked?
Yep. No, it worked out. I love it. Okay. I'll go with my number 2. Okay. So a little bit out of order here, but that's okay. Number 2, this may surprise you. Number 2 is Reverse Flash.
That's your 2.
That's my 2.
Wow.
That's my 2.
Which one though? Eobard?
Yeah, Eobard-Thawne. And that's part of why it's a number 2 for me is there's some awkwardness when it comes to the multiple personas of the Reverse Flash. You've got Earbard Thawne. You've got Dr. Zoom. I feel like there's a third one that I'm missing. But regardless, great villain.
There's so many.
Yeah, great villain. There's just, a few too many folks wearing the same hat for me. It always gets me that I choose to make fun of. It's like, listen, if you're actually the Reverse Flash, you're the slowest man alive. Like, you're not just the evil doppelganger of the Flash. Like, shouldn't you, if we're going to take this pretty literally, shouldn't you be just comically slow, like Sloth Man? But then it kind of defeats the purpose of being an adversary. So I guess it's just supposed to be Reverse Flash in the sense that, hey, the Flash has always stood for good, and I'm the reverse of him, therefore I'm against him. So hashtag the Spot from Across the Spider-Verse. That's my number 2. Who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Leonard Snart.
Yeesh.
Yeah, I have Captain Cold. And see, this is where my issue lies with the two captains. Because they're on the same team, but there's two captains.
Right.
And that doesn't make sense to me.
No,
there should not be two captains.
No, there should not.
So, but Captain Cold, he's cooler than he looks. Right?
Good there.
Yeah, I'm on a roll, and I don't mean to be doing
it. No, yes. that's where it's just flowing out of you naturally. That's great.
But like, he's smart. He slowed down the Flash a couple of times with his intellect, And I feel like him with the Rogues has been more of a threat to the Flash than like Grodd and all the others. So I got Leonard Snart.
Totally agree. Okay, so you go with your number 1, and then I'm going to go with my number 1, and then you're going to go with your number 1 because one is Leonard Snart. Captain Cold. Okay. So that's just kind of my unexpected. And here's why. And I'll fully state that as it pertains to genuine like adversary of the Flash, this is not accurate. Reverse Flash should be number 1. The reason I went with Captain Cold, is my number 1 is in this here comic, Forever Evil. All right. The premise here is that in Justice League, so the evil doppelgangers of the Justice League come to Earth, wreak holy havoc, and a random collection, of heroes and villains are left to try and defeat this evil Justice League. Leonard Snart, Captain Cold, is one of the individuals that pairs up with Batman, Lex Luthor, Bizarro, Black Manta. It's just an absolute hilarious hodgepodge. But Captain Cold in Forever Evil takes out the evil Flash. Like, takes him down.
I'm about to say he kills him, doesn't he?
Even better, he doesn't kill him. He freezes one of his legs and then kicks it into tiny pieces. Like, freezes his leg, kicks it, and he freezes it like right in the middle. So like from middle of thigh to middle of shin, and then just gives it a good old kick. And all of a sudden, Flash not so fast. It's incredible. And what he says, I'm going to give it a little quote here, little Leonard time. Leonard's taking shade at this time from the evil Flash because the evil Flash thinks, hey, I've got him. I've got this Leonard dude toast. I'm about to kill him. And Leonard, he's making fun of his cold gun, which is what Leonard wields, right? He's saying, oh, you suck. You just have this lame-ass freeze gun. He's like, no. It's a cold gun, not a freeze gun. And the evil Flash goes, well, same difference. To which Leonard says, no, it's not. A lot of guys shoot ice, but I don't freeze things. I eliminate movement altogether. I stop atoms cold. I'm the man who mastered absolute zero. And then he initiates a voice trigger on his cold gun because he doesn't actually have the gun in his hand. The evil Flash is holding it. But Leonard has installed and created his own voice trigger. And so the gun fires, freezes the evil Flash's leg, and then Leonard does the kick move and walks away. Doesn't even bother finishing him off.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest bad guy comic scenes I have ever read. So when that happened, like, Leonard, that's impressive.
Well, I think we know that I have Eobard.
I think we do.
Because
it's about Eobard.
Well, the fact that he went back in time, let the Flashpoint happen, and then he did get stabbed through the chest with a sword, but like, Just to let
Tommy Wayne.
Right. Just to let Barry do that, knowing full well that it would mess the timeline up.
Mhm.
And then, he's also responsible for his dad being framed for his mom's murder. And so, to me, he's been so integral in the Flash and his origin. You have to go back to the idea, like, Eobard hates Barry so much that he would be the guy to sneak a laxative in a brownie just so he would poop his pants at a random point in time and ruin his day. Like, he's petty, dude. Like, you have Joker and Batman, and to them it's a game, and Eobard's just like, I hate your entire existence.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to struggle even when it's simple.
Well, and it's wild. Like, the premise of the character of Eobard in particular is pretty wild, that he's from the future, like the distant future.
And he wanted to be a good guy.
Right.
He wanted to be the Flash of the future, and then Barry messed it up somehow, some way.
He blames Barry for it, but I don't think it was actually Barry's fault. But
Well, it was Eobard's fault entirely.
Right, but the fact that he intentionally travels back in time to enact this misguided vengeance on Barry Allen, and to your point, just the pettiness and just a herd of a person. Great bad guy though. Great
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So for me to have
that
that level of pettiness,
Yep.
just and that integral to a character's creation.
Yeah.
I think I gotta go with him.
Yeah, there's some fascinating, Barry Allen, the character, was not a thing in the comics for a long stretch of time. Barry, perished, allegedly, during the Infinite Crisis? No, Crisis on Infinite Earths event from the 80s. And straight up wasn't in comics. It was Wally West rolling as the Flash for the longest time. And then sometime in the mid 2000s is when Jeff Johns chose to bring Barry Allen as the Flash back. And it's been too many years now since I've read that re-origin, if you will, story of the Flash. But naturally, Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash, is deeply influential and intertwined in that story.
Well, Wally West was my Flash.
Yeah. Exactly. No, because for all of the 90s, I was your Flash, Wally West. Barry Allen was just a ghost of the past. So pretty wild stuff. Love it. All right, Beans. I think that takes us to the finish line. The Flash movie. It's coming up 2 weeks from now. We're gonna be sitting here. You're gonna be crying happy tears. That's my prediction.
I have
destined to be wrong.
I have a feeling this is gonna be my pace. I'm gonna do one of these. I'm gonna be like, you want to talk about it? That's my prediction.
It's gonna be so entertaining. It's gonna be so entertaining for us to discuss, regardless of whether it's outstanding or dumpster fire, because it won't be anything in between.
Can you imagine if it's like right smack dab average?
And then that would be worse.
And then you and I
that would be worse.
Are split.
Yeah, that would be worse. I want it to be either amazing or just hilariously terrible. Like, be Green Lantern awful or be phenomenal.
Right.
Yeah. That's great. Looking forward to it. All right, what else we got for the good people?
I think that's it. I think we wrap it up.
Agreed. It's time.
So if you like this content, subscribe to us on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Hit the like button. I think that's a thing that people like to do.
I've been told.
Yeah. And then, obviously we're all on podcast streaming everywhere.
You bet.
If you've got a TikTok, go follow us at Magic Beans Productions. If you like listening to me talk, which I can't blame you, my voice is pretty sexy.
How can you not?
I got another podcast, Spill the Beans.
Get it.
And then we're on Instagram for both of those. And on YouTube for both of those.
Love it.
And that's all I got.
Love it. Thanks for listening. What a delight it is to be back in the seat. Saul, appreciate you keeping it warm for me. We'll have you back on again soon.
Well, on that note, Godspeed.
Peace.